I don't think suspending Jim Harbaugh is enough of a punishment for Michigan. I think the only really sufficient penalty you can lay down on the Wolverines is banning them from the college football playoff. This story's now been circling for the last few weeks, and now it seems like sometime in the near future, we will get an answer in terms of if Michigan will be punished or not for allegedly cheating and what that punishment will be. It seems like Tony Petitti now has the new Big Ten commissioner, has gained all the facts he has needed. He has spoke with Big Ten coaches. He has spoke with Michigan. He's heard rebuttals from Michigan. It seems like, thankfully, because this story is honestly it started out intriguing. Now a lot of legal jargon's being thrown around. It's getting very annoying at this point, to be honest with you. I want to get back to just talking college football. But it seems like in the near future here, we are going to get a ruling from the Big Ten on if there will be a punishment and what that punishment should be. And there have been reports of a massive fine for Michigan, a suspension of Jim Harbaugh. A lot of things are reportedly right now on the table that the Big Ten is considering doing or not doing to Michigan and or Jim Harbaugh. And for me, at least, why I don't think a suspension of Jim Harbaugh is enough is because, let me ask you this. Where is the negative impact of not having Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines for Michigan? Like, how does that truly hurt them during the games? Let's remember, he's not a play caller, right? He's not the ones out there dialing up the offense during the game every single Saturday. So what does he actually do on the sidelines during the game? For the 3 hours that the game is being played, what does he actually do on the sidelines that is impactful for Michigan to where if you take him off, they're going to be in trouble or going to be at a disadvantage, right? That's why you punish someone or something or a team to hurt them, to send a message. What message are you sending by suspending the head coach who is a CEO that really come game time is not that involved in the outcome of the game for those 3 hours? So I really don't think that his absence would be greatly felt and be this big negative that Michigan would actually feel. I think we can all agree, right? If we just talk about the history of college football, the greatest coach in college football history is Nick Saban. I don't think that's really a hot take. I don't think that's really up for debate, personally. And the reason why I bring up Nick Saban is this. You would think, right, if head coaches that are CEOs are so vital to wins and losses on the field during the game on Saturday alone, that if the GOAT, Nick Saban, had to miss a game, that Alabama would just be out of whack. Right? They'd be kind of running with a chicken with their head cut off. Oh my God, we don't have our leader. What do we do? How do we know how to line up? Is everyone ready to go? Who's calling the plays? Who's calling the defensive plays? Who's the head coach? You would think a team like Alabama missing the greatest coach in college football history for even just one game, things would be out of whack. There'd be some disarray. Even if they win, it's like pretty sloppy, pretty ugly. Nick Saban has missed one game his entire career. That was back in 2020. Unfortunately, he caught COVID right before the Iron Bowl against Auburn. The final score of that game, 42-13. Alabama won. So you even had the absence of the greatest head coach in college football history not be on the sidelines for a game. Alabama didn't miss a beat. How is suspending Jim Harbaugh for one game, for 2 games, for the rest of the season actually impacting Michigan? They're already used to having him not on the sidelines, right? He already served a 3-game suspension earlier this season for different NCAA violations that are still being investigated. So Michigan already got a dry run of what it's like to have game day operations when your head coach is not there. So it's not like, again, you suspend him for the Ohio State game or the Big Ten title game or the rest of the season, and all of a sudden Michigan is not going to know what to do, and they're just going to crumble right in front of right in front of our faces here. They know what it's like to be in games without Jim Harbaugh. Again, he's not calling the plays. I don't think he has a big impact on the outcome of games on Saturday specifically, which is why for me, I don't think suspending him, even for the rest of the season, would have as big of an impact on Michigan and on the rest of the college football season as the Big Ten thinks. That's why, for me, I think the biggest and most deserving punishment, if proven true here for Michigan, that they're cheating, is banning them from the college football playoff. This is not just a Big Ten thing. This is an NCAA thing, right? Where you want to slam the book right now at the first team we have found to cheat to this level. And if you want to prevent it from happening again, which I'm sure the NCAA does not want another investigation like this going on again and ruining and taking our attention away from the field, you make the cheating not worth the reward. And right now, if you suspend Jim Harbaugh and still give Michigan a great chance of winning, because I don't think his impact or his absence will be felt that greatly, like, what message is that sending? You suspend them from the college football playoff. All of a sudden now, any team that's thinking about, well, is it worth cheating? Should we kind of do what Michigan did? Maybe just do it a little bit more discreetly, but kind of the same idea. Well, is it worth it? Well, let's see. Michigan, yeah, they cheated. Well, they still really, for the most part, weren't punished. Yeah, there was a little suspension. That's no big deal. I think it's worth it. Let's try it out. I think teams are still more likely to try to cheat and push the envelope if the suspension, or if the punishment, I should say, for Michigan is not one where you look at the act of cheating and say it's not worth it. Not competing for a championship is a big enough punishment for me to say, yeah, it ain't worth it. That's what you're playing for, right? You play to win games, you play to win your conference, and you play to win championships. You get that last part taken away, that really, again, puts a major hindrance and a major cloud over the entire season that I think is a big enough punishment, and to make an example of Michigan, to prevent any of this action going forward. That's why, for me, when I look at potential punishments and you hear different reports and rumors of what the Big Ten could do and could not do, the only punishment for me that's fitting is banning them this year from the college football playoff. And one other thing here about this cheating scandal, because this has been in the news now for about 3 weeks. I'm sick of it. I'm sure you're sick of it as well at this point, talking about it. But one thing I think we all need to do here, we got to grow up, man. Can we talk like adults? For 1 second at least? Can we please stop with this charade that's been going on, mostly from Michigan? I will say mostly from people right now rocking the maize and blue. But could we please stop this charade that Michigan didn't cheat, they didn't get this big-time advantage, and that the coaches don't know? Come on. Who are you fooling by saying that? Common sense here needs to be applied. These are the facts that we know. These are the facts that cannot be argued. Michigan staffer Connor Stalions was making $55,000 a year. What was he doing? He was buying tickets and lodging and transportation and everything else needed to send people out to go scout illegally future opponents in stadiums and also film their signals. 2 rules right there that are broken by Michigan that have now been confirmed, because guess what we have? Receipts of the transactions. We have surveillance video from stadiums in which teams will look at the seats that Connor Stalions purchased, go back and look at the surveillance video. Wow, what do you see in section A, row 49, seats 1 and 2? Those are the ones Connor Stalions bought. Oh, let's just zoom in there. Oh, what does that guy do? Oh, that's a camera phone. And he's filming our sideline the whole game. Weird. Wow. Huh. Interesting. You have surveillance video. You got receipts of these transactions. You have a source already on ESPN on the record, a Division III coach saying, yeah, I was paid by Connor Stalions to go record Penn State UMass earlier this year to go get Penn State signals. That evidence is against Michigan. And you go look at any video right now that is people have gone and put out on social media since these cheating since the cheating allegations, I should say, have come out. Connor Stalions, in multiple videos throughout multiple years, is standing in the hip pocket of Jim Harbaugh, the offense coordinator, defense coordinator. Well, he's just a recruiting analyst. You wouldn't think he would be standing next to the head coach in a game against Ohio State if he wasn't bringing something to the table. And you wouldn't think these coaches wouldn't know how he got the signals and wouldn't trust him to be right unless they knew the system. Everyone's paranoid. Think about it. If someone at work randomly came up to you, if you worked at a big company in a big office, and some low-level, some intern, let's just say, came up to you and said, hey, look, I know what this other company is doing marketing-wise. Here's how we can combat this, and here's how we can get ahead. Are you just going to blindly say, you know what? You're right. I'm going to trust you here. Let's run with this. Or you're going to say, well, how do you know what they're doing? Where did you get this information from? You're going to verify that this information that this intern is claiming to have is correct, so you don't just blindly go out there during a game and say, oh yeah, coach, run to the right. You want to know that Stalions knows what he's talking about. So let's also not pretend here that the Jim Harbaugh offensive defense coordinators here don't know. They know. Again, common sense here, please. We're adults. Let's act like it. Let's talk like it. And on top of it, right, so you had Stalions' receipts to buy tickets in his name and Venmo transactions on the record. You have surveillance video from stadiums he purchased tickets in, and the surveillance video confirms the people in those seats are the tickets that Stalions bought are videoing sidelines. You have Connor Stalions on video on game day next to Jim Harbaugh, offense coordinator, defense coordinator. And finally, you have Connor Stalions resigning from his position and failing to cooperate with any investigation going on right now. If he was innocent, he wouldn't resign from his position, especially when he is a diehard Michigan fan, where his lifelong dream is to be the next Michigan head coach. I don't think you're giving up on your lifelong dream, whatever it is, based on false allegations, based on false claims from another school, or maybe the real world, another company. And failing to cooperate with any investigation means he knows the dirt. He knows if he cooperates, he's implicating Harbaugh, coaching staff, and the entire team. So he's going to say, I'm not talking. Because silence is better, and I give him credit for this. He's going down, with the ship, not taking anything with him. But I think that to me also just lets you know right there, well, clearly, if he talks, he's implicating more than just, himself. And that's why he's not talking. So this is not a court of law, right? This is college football here. The common sense, these facts we just talked about right there, are enough to connect the two and saying, Michigan cheated. They knew what they were doing. I mean, hell, even Michigan themselves is basically admitting to cheating. This is where I said before, this is kind of getting on the boring side of this discussion, because now that for the most part it seems a lot of facts are out, now all of a sudden the legal jargon steps in, and now all of a sudden the legal analysts are coming out left and right, and the lawyers are getting involved. So Michigan sent a letter to the Big Ten yesterday, essentially pleading for them not to make any rash decisions, and basically to take their time with this investigation and not punish Michigan this year. I want to read to you just two quick lines here from Michigan's statement. You tell me, does Michigan know they're guilty, or are they trying to claim that they are innocent? This, again, is Michigan's statement to the Big Ten yesterday. Quote, it is highly dubious that a junior analyst's observations about the other side's signals would have had a material effect on the integrity of competition, particularly when, according to present evidence, the other coaches did not know the basis for those observations. End quote. Michigan's big defense is that, according to present evidence, in those two sentences, did you hear anything of baseless allegations, false accusations? Did you hear two buzzwords that we hear in almost every single denial? Unequivocally, categorically. Did you hear in those two sentences I just read you the phrase, those rumors are categorically false? We unequivocally deny any wrongdoing. That's PR 101. Even if the person or team knows they're in the wrong, the first thing that they always do is deny. And they always use those big words to make it seem like they are strong and they cannot believe the charges that are being pressed against them. We unequivocally deny those rumors and claims. Those reports are categorically false. You always hear that. What did Michigan not say in those two sentences? They did not deny about what's being accused of them. They just said, according to present evidence. That's their big defense. Right? Well, right now, we may be guilty, but right now, there's nothing right now that I've seen that says we are guilty. That's when you know they're guilty. That's when you know that they did something wrong and that they're not even denying what they did. They're just saying, well, right now the evidence doesn't say we're guilty. We know we're guilty, but the evidence at this moment does not say guilty. Again, we got to use common sense here. Let's stop pretending we're living in this fake fantasy world here, and let's live in the real one. There's absolutely zero chance Jim Harbaugh and the rest of the coaching staff had no idea how Connor Stalions got his information, and there's no way they weren't using it. Everything stacks up against that. And so now with the season winding down and 3 weeks left in the regular season, when you have to make a decision now, common sense is enough to say guilty. Michigan's not even denying what's being accused of them. And that's why for me, the ultimate punishment, the price that is right here, is banning them from the college football playoff. I don't think a suspension of Jim Harbaugh is enough. I don't think suspending Jim Harbaugh truly has the impact as a CEO, right, where he's not the play caller. He really does not have that big of an impact for the 3 hours where the game is played. I don't think suspending Jim Harbaugh has really that big of an impact on games moving forward. You want to make Michigan pay for their cheating? You want to prevent this cheating from happening again going forward? You ban them from the college football playoff. You make the act, in this case, videoing and breaking the rules to cheat, not worth the reward of maybe getting an advantage, but if you get caught, you can't compete for a national title. That is why, for me, a suspension of Jim Harbaugh does not go far enough, is not enough of a punishment, and is not going to truly have the effects that I think the Big Ten and the NCAA think it will.